Welcome back everyone to this lecture on the left and right merge conditions when combining data frames. Now that we understand an inner merge where we take values that are present in both tables, let's explore a left merge condition versus a right merge condition. And it's really important to note here that the order of the tables being passed in as arguments does matter here. The first table passed in is the left one, and then the second table passed in is the right one. And I'm saying table, but we mean just data frames in general. Okay, so let's explore what happens when we say how is equal to left with our two example data frames or tables. And something to note here is that what I'm going to say is registrations on the left-hand side, that's my left table or left data frame, and logins will be my right table, right data frame. So we have registrations on the left and logins on the right. So what happens if I say go ahead and merge these together on the name column with the condition being a left merge? Well, in that case, I'll say PD merge registrations, and since it's being passed first, it's the left-hand side, and then logins being passed second, it's the right table. And we say how is equal to left on name. And so if we take a look at the Venn diagram, because I say how is equal to left, that means I want everything in the name column that is present in the left-hand table. So that means Andrew, Bob, Charlie, and David all have to show up in my results, regardless if they are present in the logins table. So the results will look something like this. And now you should know that we end up with null values here. So because I'm saying how is equal to left, and I'm saying on name, then every single name in the left table will be present in the results, along with their corresponding column values between the two tables. However, it should be noted that Charlie and David were not actually present in the logins table, meaning they don't have a log ID associated with them. So that means that we're going to fill it in with some null values, those nan or not a number variables. And if you wanted to, you could later filter this out using the missing value or missing data methods that we learned about earlier in the course. But this is what it looks like on it, how is equal to left. So we're saying name, which means all the names in the left-hand table need to be present in the results. And that means if they're not in the right-hand table, they're going to be filled in with null values. So let's see what happens in a right situation. It's essentially the reverse. So if we say PD merge registrations logins how is equal to right, in this case, now we need to know that the name column that is in the logins table, every single name in that column needs to be present in the results. So that means Xavier, Andrew, Yolanda, and Bob will be present in the results. Something to note here is that the rows may not actually be in the exact same order. And typically with Pandas, what's going to happen is it's going to first start sorting out by the left-hand table and then finish off with the right hand. But again, we don't really need to worry about the row ordering or even the column ordering, because the results can always be sorted as we see fit. It's important to note here that the main thing that's occurring is when we say how is equal to right, that all the names in the right-hand logins table will be present in the results. And that means if they don't have a matching column value, we're going to fill it in with a null value. Because for example, Xavier and Yolanda, while being in the logins table, were not present in the registrations table. So let's quickly explore this further in Pandas. Okay, so here I am back in our notebook. Before we had an inner join, which we see the results are Andrew and Bobo, or A and B, since they were present in both the registrations table and the logins table. Now let's go ahead, come here and do first a left merge. So if we see here, notice the parameters left and then right is second. So we can say, just to make it clear, in this case we'll say left is registrations and right is logins. And then we'll say how is equal to left, and then on is name. We run that and we see the results as we expected. Recall that our registrations table has the names A, B, C, D, so these are all present in the name column. However, there was no login ID for Claire and David, so those are null values. And again, that's with the left. And keep in mind that order is important and it does matter if we say how is equal to left. It didn't matter with inner. Notice with inner those results were the same regardless if we say registrations or logins and registrations, because you're looking for matches that are in both tables. In this case, we're only looking for things that are in the left table. And so let's copy and paste this and see what changes if I say now how is right, which means essentially the logins table or logins data frame is going to set the course here for the results. So now we see every name that was in the logins table, Andrew, Bobo, Xavier, Yolanda, and since they didn't have registration IDs, those are missing here in the same way that Claire and David didn't have login IDs, those are missing there. And the last thing I want to point out to keep in mind is Pandas is actually smart enough to understand what it should choose for the on column if there's essentially only one main option. So you notice that the only column that's being shared between the tables here is the name column. So technically, I could delete this, run it, and I get back the same results. However, for the purpose of readability, I would recommend that in general, you clearly specify what you want the key to be, just in case someone else in the future is reading your code. That way, it's very clear what you actually intend the final results of this merge to be. Okay, coming up next, we'll discuss the outer condition.